Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a true story that honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a horror movie, but I promise you, this is terrifyingly real. We're looking at the facts of an incident from October 2023, right outside of Columbus, Ohio. What started off as just a perfectly normal, relaxing weekend for a teenager, well, it turned into an absolute nightmare. The kind of nightmare that will fundamentally change how you view the safety of your own home.
So, let me ask you something directly. How often have you been sitting alone in your house, maybe it's late at night, and you hear a weird creak or a bizarre thump from another room? What do you actually do? You probably brush it off, right? We all do. You blame it on the wind or the old pipes or the house just naturally settling. We do it because, honestly, it makes us feel safe. But for the teenager in our explainer today, brushing off that noise, that was the very first step into a deeply unsettling reality.
All right, let's set the scene. The person at the center of this incident is a 19-year-old guy, and for the very first time, he was left completely alone for 3 nights in his family's creaky 40-year-old house. His parents had gone out of town to a wedding in Chicago, and his younger sister was staying at a friend's place. So, night 1, it went exactly how you'd expect. Pizza, video games until 2 a.m., watching horror movies in the dark, literally the ultimate independent weekend.
Fast forward to night 2. It's about 11:30 p.m. He's just chilling in the living room, watching YouTube videos, totally wrapped up in that comforting logic that he is completely alone. You have that harmless expectation, right? That an old wooden floor is just settling. But that gets matched against the creeping, horrifying reality of an actual intruder sharing your space.
Because, right in the middle of his video, a single footstep echoed from the floorboards upstairs. He immediately paused the video. The entire house fell dead silent. He listened, really hoping it was just the house settling, but then it happened again. Louder this time, and definitely upstairs. You know that feeling when your stomach just completely drops? Yeah. He muted the TV, he waited, and then came the absolute confirmation. 2 slow, deliberate footsteps, coming from the hallway directly above the living room ceiling. Okay, so trying to rationalize this, he grabbed his phone and bravely headed upstairs to do a physical sweep. He wasn't fully panicked yet, like maybe a window blew open, maybe the wind knocked something over. He systematically checked every single room. His bedroom, his sister's room, his parents' room, the guest room. He checked the windows. He literally got down on his hands and knees and looked under the beds. And the results? Absolutely nothing. The house was completely empty, or so it seemed, which really just goes to show how easily a real threat can remain completely hidden in plain sight. Now, things escalate incredibly fast from here. Let's look at the timeline. At 11:30, he hears the first noises. By 11:45, he's completed his full search and found absolutely nothing. So he kind of laughs at himself, heads back downstairs, and plops back on the couch. But the literal moment he sits down, he hears it again. Another thump, directly above him in the hallway. And that is when, at 11:50 p.m., he remembers something absolutely crucial. His dad had recently installed a security camera in that exact upstairs hallway. He immediately pulled up the camera app on his phone, and through the grainy, dim feed, illuminated by just a tiny nightlight, he saw it. A tall, thin figure, wearing entirely dark clothes, standing perfectly motionless near the bathroom door, just watching the camera. The teen sprinted to the bottom of the stairs to look up, but the hallway was empty. He looked back down at his phone. The figure was inexplicably gone. Just vanished. Terrified, he called 911. 2 officers arrived within 10 minutes, and they did a massive sweep. They checked every closet, the basement, and crucially, they even checked the attic. They found 0 signs of forced entry. Nothing was missing. The officers basically told him the camera probably just glitched out and created a weird artifact on the screen. They told him to lock the doors and try to get some sleep. So they leave, essentially leaving him to question his own sanity. Like, was it really just a technical error, or an intruder who was incredibly skilled at hiding? Well, he locks up, feels a bit embarrassed, and goes to bed. But this is where the real nightmare begins, ticking down like a terrifying clock. At 2:17 a.m., he jolts awake in pitch darkness. He doesn't even know why at first. Then, at 2:18, he hears it. Slow floorboards creaking right outside his bedroom door. Someone is shifting their weight out there in the hallway. He completely stops breathing. The sound inches closer, and then, at exactly 2:19 a.m., the metal door handle of his bedroom begins to slowly, quietly turn. The handle turns halfway and just stops.
Whoever is out there is trying so hard not to make a sound. The teenager's heart is literally pounding out of his chest. He reaches for his phone in the dark to call the police again. And right at that exact second, his phone screen lights up and buzzes in his hand. It's an automatic push notification from the security app. It reads, "Motion detected upstairs hallway." The app automatically captured a photo of whatever triggered that motion sensor. He opens the notification, and what he sees makes his blood run completely cold. It's a man standing right outside his bedroom door. The camera captures his pale face, his almost completely black eyes, staring dead into the lens. But the absolute most horrifying detail, in his hand, the man is tightly gripping a massive kitchen knife. The teen whispers a frantic call to 911, and the dispatcher gives him one chilling instruction: stay in your room. But here's the terrifying part. He forgot to lock his bedroom door. The man pushes gently, and the door opens a few inches. Long fingers wrap around the edge of the wood, pulling it wider to reveal the dark hallway. Running on pure adrenaline, the teen leaps from his bed, slams the door shut with all his might, locks it, and grabs a baseball bat. From the other side of that thin wooden door, the intruder lets out this quiet, amused little laugh. Then, in a perfectly calm, almost friendly voice, he whispers, "I know you're in there." The teen backs away, gripping the bat, just utterly panicked. But what the intruder whispers next is absolutely devastating. Through the locked door, the man whispers, "I've been here for 2 days." 2 days. That was the precise exact amount of time the 19-year-old had been left alone in the house. This wasn't some random break-in. This person had been inside with him the entire time. Thankfully, police sirens erupted outside moments later, causing the intruder to bolt. Officers swarmed the police and locked down the house. And this time, they searched with absolute desperation. And they finally found him. He was crammed deep inside the attic walls, hiding behind thick pink insulation. And you guys, the methodology the police pieced together here is bone-chilling. He had secretly entered the home before the parents even left for Chicago. He built a literal nest in the attic, he learned their schedules, he listened to them, and he waited patiently to strike the exact moment his target was completely isolated. When detectives actually processed the attic, the physical evidence of his secret camp was horrifying. Tucked away behind the insulation, right where the first police sweep had missed him, they found food wrappers, empty water bottles, and a pile of blankets. He had been quietly living right above their heads, sleeping while they slept, listening to every single word they said. But the most disturbing piece of evidence they recovered was a small, worn notebook. Now, most of this notebook was filled with random addresses and descriptions of different houses and family schedules. But one entire page was dedicated exclusively to the 19-year-old. It listed his full name. It mapped out the exact location of his bedroom. It documented his daily routines. And written across the page, obsessively repeated over and over again like this dark mantra, was a single sentence: "Wait until he's alone." The intruder was arrested and eventually went to prison. The teen, as you can probably guess, never stayed home alone in that house ever again. But weeks later, there was one final unresolved mystery that still haunts this entire case. While looking back at that terrifying security camera photo, the one showing the armed man outside his bedroom door, the teenager noticed a detail he had completely missed in his panic. At the far end of the hallway, standing in the pitch black behind the intruder, there appears to be a second, unidentifiable figure. Just standing there, watching both the intruder and the teen. And, to this day, nobody has ever figured out who or what that second figure actually was. It's exactly the kind of detail that makes you want to go double-check the locks on your own doors right now, isn't it? We started this explainer by talking about the noises we all hear in an empty house. The creaks, the settling wood, the wind against the glass. The little things we tell ourselves just to feel safe. But I want to leave you with this thought to ponder the next time you're sitting in your living room late at night. If you hear footsteps tonight, are you truly home alone?